Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided I wanted to sit down and share with you guys some of my wedding regrets, I guess, or kind of like a little series of if I were to get married again, here's what I would do differently. I wanted to do this because we are actually nearing our 3rd year wedding anniversary, and so I just wanted to do a little wedding recap, share with you guys all the things I regretted about my wedding and also a lot of things that I loved about my wedding as well. I thought this would be helpful for all the brides coming up because it is entering wedding season, and yeah, I just thought it would be a fun, different little video. So let's just go ahead and get started. It's like 1,000,000 degrees in my house, so let's just ignore any sweat if you see that at any point in the video. But I had to write down a whole list of things that I loved and that I would have done differently next time. Well, not next time, but I mean maybe next time if we ever get remarried, that would be cool. So possibly the #1 thing that I could share with you not to do if you guys are getting married. Not that we had any say in this whatsoever, but I would just probably not get married during a pandemic because that is the most stressful thing that you could possibly do. Yeah, it was not fun. Although I would say it did turn out to having some benefits to it, and we'll probably get into that a little later, but just try and avoid any future pandemics coming up and just don't get married in that season. But hopefully that never happens again. I'm just putting that out there. No more pandemics. With that being said, as much as I didn't love getting married during a pandemic because we literally had to change our date, you know, everything shut down March 2020 and our wedding date was set for April 25th, 2020. So like the big ceremony and everything did not happen on that day. We had to end up moving that to July, which is freaking hottest month of the year probably. And we had an outdoors wedding, so that was just lovely. Anyway, we still ended up very last minute having a very small and intimate wedding on our original date, which I am actually so thankful for. It was just me, my husband, my dad, my stepmom, and my 2 brothers. Unfortunately, none of Jared's family could be there, but I actually really enjoyed having just a very intimate wedding, and I'm so grateful that that actually happened because it was just such a different feeling from having our big ceremony where there was like 150, 200 people there, and it's just something very special and near and dear to me. The only thing I would change about that is having a little more of my family there, and as well as having Jared's family there as well. It was at this really tiny lake, and it was just like so beautiful out, and I loved every single minute of it. So yeah, if I took one good thing away from getting married during a pandemic, it was like having a very intimate wedding, because had that not happened, we wouldn't have had that experience. I didn't even know I would like a very intimate wedding, and essentially we eloped. Like that's basically like an elopement or whatever, and I definitely loved that. So I guess thanks COVID. And then my next, this is probably my biggest regret out of my whole wedding day, is I just thought I would take the cheap road in booking basically like an all-inclusive photographer, videographer, DJ, and they had more stuff to offer too, but those are the only 3 that I booked, in which that's not necessarily bad, but when it's so incredibly cheap, I should have known that that was a big red flag, because you get what you pay for. Honestly, we don't like any of our pictures from our like big ceremony wedding day. Thank the Lord that my stepmom had a photographer at our intimate wedding, because those pictures, literally, if I wouldn't have had those pictures, I don't know what I would have done. Like, I would have been so sad. But really invest and do a lot of research before you book a photographer, a videographer. I don't really care much about the DJ. Like, a DJ is a DJ, it was fine. But for me personally, like video and photos are something that I want to be able to look back on forever and enjoy, and that's just not the case with our big ceremony day. So I'm very grateful for our intimate wedding, because we do have beautiful photos from that, and I really just wish I would have spent a lot more money on my big wedding day, because I'm pretty sure like altogether, photo, videographer, and DJ, I'm pretty sure it was like $1,700 total, which that should have been like half the cost of like a videographer right there. So that should have been just the biggest red flag to me, but I thought I was saving money and getting a good deal, and that was not the case. So don't be cheap, because just remember you're gonna get what you paid for. Next, one of the regrets I have is my makeup. Not necessarily that I didn't like my makeup, but I personally did my own makeup. I do my own makeup all the time, and I wasn't gonna pay somebody to do my makeup because I feel like I do makeup pretty well. However, I did a lot of makeup trials with myself. Like I did like a few different times of, oh, this this could be a potential look that I would wear on my wedding day. And I never just like finalized one look. I kind of just like did a whole bunch of different looks, and then just on the day, I feel like I just jumbled them, was that a word? Combined all them together into like one look that I hadn't even tested or anything. And so it was just weird. I didn't love my makeup. My lip color I think was new and I just had never worn it before. So definitely if you're doing your own makeup or hair, or even if somebody else is doing it for you, definitely make sure you like set in stone exactly what you're gonna do, because I would hate for you guys to not love your makeup or your hair on the biggest day of your life. So don't do what I did. Another one of the regrets I have that was kind of out of my control was not having our wedding on a Saturday night, which I know a lot of places that's not uncommon. Like a lot of people have Friday night weddings, Sundays, like even throughout the week or whatever. Originally ours was booked for Saturday night, which is perfect. I just feel like more guests can be there and it's like on an actual weekend and you're not having to have your guests take off of work to get there on time and stuff. But when we had to reschedule our wedding, there was no open availability until like the following year on a Saturday. So you would have either had to do a Sunday or a Friday, and we ended up choosing a Friday, which was July 10th. I guess you could go two different ways with this. Like I really liked how on a Friday night we had our wedding, we partied hard, and we had 2 days to recover, you know, before like having to get back into the swing of going to work and having our guests go back to work or whatever. But on the second hand, it sucked because our wedding was 6 o'clock on a Friday night. So people are getting off of work at 5:30 and just not being able to make it to the venue on time and stuff like that, and it just caused people to have to take off on Friday, and I just really hated that. And like some people from out of town weren't able to come because they like couldn't take off, so it just kind of sucked. But again, what are you gonna do? There was no other option for me. So one of the things that I loved about our wedding was our food. We actually did something so untraditional, I feel like personally. I've never been to a wedding that anybody else has done this. We had a food truck, which I know that just wait. People do have food trucks at their wedding, but instead of like having people like go up and order food at their food truck, we had our food truck make breakfast food, and that was our dinner. Jared and I both love breakfast food for dinner. Well, me, I think I love it a lot more than he does, but he's just a trooper and just went along with me. Like I don't think he hates it, but it's just something different, and it was something that's very like us to have breakfast for dinner, and I loved that. We just had like a whole buffet of breakfast food, so everybody like had an option of something that they wanted. So we had like French toast, breakfast burritos, bacon, sausage. Like the kids had little, like, you know, those little cereal packets where you like pull off the top. We had little like cafeteria container milks, and it was just really fun. I dropped my book. So it was just really fun and different, and a different vibe and experience, and I really loved it. I have had so many people come up to me after the wedding like saying your food was the best food that I've ever had at a wedding, hands down. And I'm just like, oh, thank you. I have had some people say that they were questioning my choice of why we had breakfast food, but I just feel like they question it because it's so something nobody would, you know, guess that somebody would have. But I personally loved it, and it was amazing food. It was so good. I just didn't want the traditional chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans, you know, just that's so expected. Sorry if you had that at your wedding, but I just wanted to do something a little different, you know? Another thing that I regret, I don't know if I regret it, but maybe I just wish I would have done a little more of, is have a little more decor at our wedding. I just feel like it was a little bit blah. Maybe I feel like that because I don't feel like I have any pictures of our decor, which again goes with getting a good photographer that, you know, captures that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just don't feel like I had much decor at my wedding. We had a really big arbor with like a little bit of floral and greenery on it, but I just feel like I wish I would have done a little more. The venue that we got married at was absolutely gorgeous. It was outside, so I felt like a lot of our decor was just like nature. But when I look at pictures and videos from our wedding versus like other weddings that are being had there, they're just like going all out. Like I don't want to go all out for my decor, but I just wish I would have had a little bit more. I can't even remember what we had, honestly. I just think we had some like little random gold pieces with like tea lights, vases with baby's breath, and pretty much it. I don't even really remember, to be honest. But that was just literally not even something I was thinking about when I was planning. The next, probably one of of the biggest regrets I have is not actually having somebody record our ceremony, which again, this goes with the videographer. Like, we had a freaking videographer at our wedding. I kind of expected them to record the whole ceremony, which it wasn't even long. It was literally like 7 to 10 minutes, but they did not. They only really got like a little snippet of us saying our vows and then the I do's and announcement of husband and wife. But like, my sister sang at the wedding and she did so amazing, and we don't have any video of that, and it makes me so sad because it's not like we can go back and redo that again. I just wish I would have had like somebody in the audience, one of my friends, just record on their phone the whole entire ceremony, because all I have are memories, and that's fine to some people, but I just love looking back on this kind of things every anniversary, like watching all our wedding videos and looking at our pictures. And this year I think Jared and I are going to reread our own vows. So yeah, I just really hate that we didn't get a video of like my sister singing at least. Like, that just makes me so sad because she did phenomenal. The next regret that I have, well, I don't even know if this is a regret, to be honest. Maybe it was just because of the timing of it, because we had to have it on a Friday night at 6 p.m. Had it been our original Saturday date at, I think it was 4 or 3 or something like that, it would have been totally perfect. But since it was on a Friday, I kind of wish that we would have had a first look, because just with how late the ceremony was, and like I said, it wasn't even that long of a ceremony, it just took so much time taking pictures after the ceremony and between the dinner. I feel like it was just time wasted that we didn't get to mingle with our friends or family and take pictures with everybody. And like, a lot of people started leaving before we even like had the dance because it was getting so late. And I feel like if we would have done a first look and got all that out of the way, we just would have had a lot more time to, you know, live it up and party with a lot more friends and family. So that sucked, but at the same time, I am happy that we did it the traditional way of Jared didn't see me until like I was literally walking down the aisle. But again, at the same time, our DJ or something wasn't really paying attention to like the timing of everything. Like, Jared was still dealing with the ring bearer coming down the aisle when I was like coming in, because our ring bearer was just walking really slow and was just kind of not knowing where to go. And so he was like trying to get him to where he was supposed to go, and I was like already halfway down the aisle, and Jared just looked up at that time. And like, I don't even remember his initial reaction, but right before we were getting ready to say the vows, I do remember him like crying. Like, he could not get it together. He was like standing there staring at me and just like crying, and then he like literally had to turn away from the audience and was just crying, and it was just the cutest thing. And again, none of that is on video, and it just makes me so mad. So yeah, that's a big bummer. I guess just depending on the timing of your wedding and how much time you have in between, I would possibly do a first look, possibly not. However, I am very happy that I did actually get a first look with my dad and my 2 brothers, and I highly suggest that. They all 3 cried like babies, and I am glad that I do have that on video, and I actually have pictures of that as well. I do wish that I would have got a first look with all my bridesmaids. I think that would have been fun, and like my grandma as well. So I mentioned this earlier, talking about going back and rereading our vows. One thing that I loved that Jared and I did is write our own vows. Before meeting Jared, I never thought I would be a person that would want to write my own vows. Like, I was just like, that is an absolute no for me. And turns out he changed my mind. He really wanted to do that. And so like, I just feel like seeing him want to write his own vows to me just kind of made me want to, you know, join in on that. So I'm so glad that Jared wanted that, because it is something so special to us now. We actually have them framed, and we have them each sitting on our nightstands, and it's just something so special. He doesn't know this yet, I haven't said it, but we're gonna go back and reread our vows to each other, and it's just something I'm so blessed and thankful for. And even if you guys didn't want to write your own vows and like say them at your actual ceremony, I've heard of people writing their own vows and having a first look and then saying their vows during their first look. So that is something you could do that is very intimate and private just between the 2, but you like still get to write your own vows. So that would be fun. Another thing I am so grateful for is hiring a day of coordinator. And this kind of came with the venue, which is another thing that I loved. Our venue was so amazing. We had our venue from Thursday night till Saturday morning. Our venue had a place there for us to stay the night. Me and one of my maid of honor stayed there the night before, and then it had just like a big place for everybody to get ready. Jared and I stayed there in the little cabin the night of our wedding. They literally set everything up for us. My friends, my family, none of us had to touch one single decoration and put it up. Like, they took care of everything. We had no stress about it. We didn't have to tear down anything, which was just amazing. Having the day of coordinator was also amazing because she took care of all the vendors, like when the food truck arrived, like when the DJ arrived. Like, I did not talk to a single vendor on my wedding day other than the food truck, because Jared and I had like meetings with them quite a few times, and like we got pretty close, and so we just like went and chit chat. But other than that, I didn't have to like tell any vendor what to do. I didn't have to help them set up or even worry about anything because they took care of literally every single detail, and I'm so thankful. No stress was had on our wedding. It was just amazing, and I'm so glad that they did that, because then it just allowed us to spend more time with our friends and our family, and our family wasn't busy decorating till like midnight, you know, the night before, and it was just literally so nice. And I highly suggest a day of coordinator for that reason. Another thing that I am so grateful that we did like a home vlog. Like, I wasn't really like a vlogging channel at the time. Like, I was still like really heavy into like doing makeup and stuff like that, which ugh. But I'm so thankful that I asked to borrow my brother's camera. It wasn't the best quality, but I'm still so grateful. So I just had the camera. I would pick it up whenever I wanted and vlog, and I would set it down, and all my bridesmaids knew that they were more than welcome to pick up the camera at any point in time and just like film whatever they wanted to film. And it turned out so fun. I'll actually link that video up here if you guys want to go see it. It's not the best quality. The camera is very shaky because it was just like kind of an older camera, I think, or the settings weren't right on it or anything, but it was still so fun, and I just love going back and watching those. Honestly, I feel like I love that vlog, like the homemade vlog, better than the video that we got from our videographer, if that tells you anything. So another thing that I not necessarily regret, I guess this is just something that you need to remember to do, is actually plan for a lunch for the day of your wedding. Like, I don't know why we didn't think of this, but we did not plan for anybody to eat anything for lunch. I think everybody got to the venue around 10, and the ceremony wasn't until 6. In the middle of the day, everybody was like, I'm hungry, and I necessarily wasn't hungry. I don't even think I ate until after the ceremony. So my sister had to run, I think she ran to like Sam's and got either Sam's, or she like ordered pizza and like brought pizza back to the venue. But I don't know why that was something that just never crossed our minds. Like, hey, yeah, we should all probably eat before, you know, drinking and the ceremony is standing out in 110-degree weather heat. Although it was very last minute and we did get, you know, our bridesmaid, our bridal party, and family and friends things to eat. We just should have planned for a lot better and actually remember to do that. Another thing that I loved was having a cocktail hour after the ceremony while Jared and I took pictures together with our family and our bridal party and just like the two of us. I felt like it gave the guests something to do other than just go sit at their table waiting for dinner. We had like snacks and signature drinks. I think Jared picked a drink and I picked a drink, and they could just mingle in a different area other than where the ceremony was or where dinner was going to be had. It was like at a totally different place, and it was just kind of fun, and we had games, and it just kept the guests busy and not just sitting around waiting. So I'm thankful that we did that. Another thing that I loved about our wedding, I feel like this is not too random, but instead of having cake, we actually had cupcakes, and I just ordered them from Sam's. They were so cheap. I can't even remember what I spent. Maybe $150 on like 300 cupcakes or something. And I actually loved the idea of this because I feel like cakes can get expensive. I just thought it was, you know, something different to have cupcakes. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know this until the next day, but apparently the cupcakes were all frozen the morning of, and I'm so glad nobody told me anything that went wrong during the day. I was just like totally not in the loop of anything, which is amazing. But yeah, apparently all the cupcakes were frozen. I don't know how they got through that mishap, but I never guessed that at the ceremony when I saw them. They were really good, and they were so much cheaper than an actual wedding cake, so do the cheaper route. That's where I actually would go the cheaper route, is on cupcakes and stuff, not necessarily like photographer and videographer. And I think this is the last one, and it's a regret, unfortunately. But again, it probably shouldn't be a regret because it really had nothing to do with what we could control. Initially, both Jared and I wanted a fall wedding. Fall is our favorite season, and we had really been wanting a fall wedding. However, there was no fall weddings available at our venue until like the following year. So we decided to give in to what we wanted, and we ended up booking a spring wedding, which if if we couldn't have a fall wedding, a spring wedding would have been our next option. And apparently the universe had other plans for that as well, because it ended up being smack dab in the middle of the summer when it was 110 degrees out and it was so hot. I can't even tell you. Like, I remember standing up there at the ceremony, holding hands with Jared, feeling sweat running down my boobs, running down my back, running down my legs, because I had a really extremely heavy dress on and it was beautiful. I don't regret any of that. However, if it would have been in the spring when it was supposed to be, it would have been fine. It would have been a gorgeous, probably 60 degrees, which is amazing, especially for all the guys standing up there in their suit tuxes. Like, I feel so bad for making them all stand up there in fully decked out suits in 110 degree weather. Like, that is, ugh, so hot. But I think I initially would have just waited until the fall wedding, because it's both what Jared and I really wanted, and we just kind of gave in to what was available, and I don't think we would do that next time. So don't give in on anything that you guys want. Don't compromise. If somebody's telling you no, you're asking the wrong person. Just ask Kris Jenner. So definitely would have done fall wedding, and possibly if I had to go back and do everything all over again, we probably would have eloped to Colorado, because we both love Colorado. We love the mountains, and I think that would have just been so beautiful. I definitely would have wanted, you know, all our friends and family to be there just in the mountains. It would be so beautiful. So that's probably, if I had to go back and get remarried all over again, those are the things that I would do differently. I hope this video was helpful for some of the brides out there getting ready to be married, planning their wedding, or maybe you're having a vow renewal and you're planning your second wedding, because I plan to do that. Jared and I will be getting married a third time. Mark my words. Don't know when. It might be our 10-year, I almost said reunion. It might be our 10-year anniversary, or it might be our 20-year anniversary, or 25. I don't know, but I feel like we will be having a third wedding, which is something so special. Who says that they got married 3 times? Pandemic brides, probably. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I respond to all my comments, so let's chat. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a future upload from me. And I guess until next time, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys, thanks for watching. Go out and make the world smile. Oh, and congrats to all the brides out there. Enjoy your perfect day.